Hey everybody, and welcome to this special on Mars transiting in Aquarius, which happens this year from the 15th of March at 12:39 until the 23rd of April 2024. Okay, so the key positives are that it can increase our motivation, can make us more assertive, we can become more innovative, forward-thinking, original in our problem-solving skills. We can be more focused on bringing equality into our relationships, social activism and humanitarian, charitable sort of projects, starting to or continuing to be involved with them or involving them in a deeper level, standing up for the disadvantaged and the underdog, great for expanding our social networks and connecting with people you've got things in common with. Negatively, it can make us sort of like impulsive and reckless, stepping over people's boundaries. We can have conflict with authority at this moment or power struggles, just down to the fact that we may just want to be a bit more detached from our emotions, so we can not be aware of how we're coming across in our words and actions, and we can just sort of like cause problems in our relationships because of this detachment from our feeling or detachment from our words and actions, and not seeing the person behind those we may hurt at this time, and also maybe feeling that we can't protect ourselves and stand up for ourselves as well. We may allow our boundaries to be crossed because we can just be detached from our sense of self, sense of motivation, self-esteem and confidence as well. Psychologically, this energy wants us to be more independent, explore and show our unique identities, be authentic, sort of take more of an intellectual, objective approach to emotions. And this doesn't mean, cutting them off, but just sort of like being a bit more rational in your conclusions. Like sometimes we can make big conclusions from how someone's treating us, and a lot of the time it's because how others have treated us in the past, and we have unresolved trauma, and then we just kind of project what others have done negatively or sometimes positively onto others. So we just have to make sure that we're being realistic right now. It can make us more rebellious, being able to stand up for ourselves, get things off our mind, and just challenge tradition and conformity. And anyone who crosses our boundaries right now, the best use of this energy is to join forces with like-minded people to bring about positive change, think outside of the box, be innovative and think of creative solutions to your problems right now, and just network with others as well to expand your sort of like social circle. We have to sort of like just be mindful as well, because people may, or you may just be impulsive and disregard the consequences of your words and actions. So it's really beneficial and important to find a balance between asserting your individuality and respecting the boundaries of others right now. And because conflict with authority figures can come up right now, it's best to be aware of this fact and ask questions before jumping to conclusions and being on defence and repeating gossip and stuff like that as well. But ultimately, see any tension that comes up right now as opportunities for growth, instead of engaging in power struggles or just rebelling, going against people for the sake of it. Make sure you kind of have a cause that you're standing up for. Approach situations with understanding and a willingness to sort of resolve conflict and find a common ground is the best approach while Mars is transiting in Aquarius. Now I'm going to talk specifically about the aspects that Mars makes this year when it goes into Aquarius on the 15th of March, staying there until the 23rd of April. So Mercury makes a semi-square with Mars, so this again just brings that extra flaming energy of Mars and Mercury. So we may have like the thirst for knowledge, just wanting to be mentally and intellectually stimulated, or sexually stimulated as well, because Mars is also sexual motivation, drives. It's all to do with drives and energy, and sex drive is obviously part of human motivation. So it can push us to want to take immediate action to reach our goals, but we just have to make sure that we slow down, don't sort of like run before we can walk, gather the facts, make sure that we're not kind of walking over others to get to where we want to get to, because this can backfire. And because we can be more detached in our thinking, impulsive decision making and actions can happen, and this can just add to the conflict in relationships. Mars also makes a square to Uranus as well, so this adds unpredictability for the sort of like just over a month that Mars is in Aquarius this year. So it just doubly brings that need for freedom, helping us to break free from limiting circumstances, whether that be toxic relationships, behaviour patterns, self-destructive habits, overindulging in drugs and alcohol and things like that, you know, our own toxic thoughts and ways of relating to ourselves and others. This energy helps us to break away from just toxicity, but on the negative flip side, it can double the risk of unexpected conflicts and accidents as well, so just watch out for that. So that's the short version of what happens when Mars goes into Aquarius. Now I'm going to talk more in depth about the sort of like spiritual, esoteric, symbolic, creative, and more about the emotional sort of meanings, political meanings, and what it means on the karmic level, and furthermore about the best things like lovers and entrepreneurs, and a whole lot more can do when Mars is transiting in Aquarius, because if you know exactly what to focus on, you can just use astrological energies in combination, because no transit ever happens at once, and we can just navigate the astrological waters a bit better. So, as I said, astrologically speaking, Mars in Aquarius can just bring a strong burst of like rebellious energy, freedom-seeking energy, just like a NASA scientist who challenges traditional theories to discover new, you know, frontiers and space. People may find themselves questioning social norms and pushing for their boundaries. So yeah, people may be protective of their space a lot more at this time, which can sort of like lead to overreactions, so just watch out for that. Try and diffuse conflict. Practically, it can inspire us to be more inventive and come up with groundbreaking ideas for our plans. So just it sort of like pushes us, as I said earlier, to have that futuristic look in our life, living in the now, yeah, but not dwelling on the past, instead using our past mistakes and experiences to plan a better future for ourselves. On the worldly, materialistic level, Mars in Aquarius can help us look at ways of getting more money into our life. We can look at different sort of future-oriented sort of like investments in technology, medicine, science, alternative healing and spirituality and practices and stuff like that, and just sort of like alternative energy sources and eating choices and anything that's sort of like out of the box or new. So it also can lead to some unexpected financial gains for some of you, sort of like a stock market guru who makes bold predictions and strategically invests in sort of like emerging new industries, and this can earn some of you who know what you're doing significant profits. So just, you know, take well thought out and don't gamble there any more than what you can, you know, sort of like afford to lose. Politically, it can spark, as I said, for us to be more wanting movements for change. So think of a charismatic leader like Martin Luther King, who fearlessly fought for civil rights and equality. Martin Luther King and people like him inspired millions around the world to stand up against injustice, and his energy pushes these sort of like policies. Political leaders may talk more about, you know, more sort of like innovative, out of the box, non-traditional ways to solve the world problems like poverty and stuff like that. On the spiritual and esoteric level, we may seek sort of like unconventional means for enlightenment, but just watch out for overindulging in intoxicating substances, because yes, they can give us that sort of like picture into the other world, higher world, especially when we don't never felt love in our life from our family or anything like that. It can be hard for us to imagine, so taking these drugs to open a window. But if we want to sustain that high instead of chasing that high, we have to take time out to heal our psychological, emotional, spiritual trauma. So Mars in Aquarius spiritually wants us to look at radical ways, exploring alternative healing techniques, so even going back to ancient rituals, what we used to do, and connecting with our higher consciousness in that way, and just being open to merging the old with the new, and sort of like and just being open to breaking free from limitations and embracing your individuality on that symbolic level, sort of like being prepared to start or continue to take those daily steps, so you can be like the phoenix, what rises from its own ashes, burning down the old to rebirth into your new. you can just kind of like feel compelled to just express yourself for who you are and be accepted. So you may just let go of some toxic relationships, or as I said, there's a danger of people being aggressive in asserting their boundaries. So yeah, stand up for yourself. You may have just had enough of being walked over and people pleasing if that's what you've done, but also try and be respectful, try and be assertive rather than aggressive, or maybe go into some sort of assertive training, or looking up assertive training online can help you at this time. So emotionally, Mars in Aquarius sort of allows us to be detached and be more objective, so we can question our emotions and analyse them from a more logical standpoint, what can be good when you're more sensitive and empathetic like I am, to kind of like start taking that detached look at yourself. This can help you just have a different perspective and not take things personally as well, because a lot of the time other people may be saying things that seem personal to us, but a lot of the times when people are being negative and abusive and stuff to us, is more about them than us, because even if we are being an A-hat, being horrible, whatever, that doesn't mean they need to respond to us that way, and that doesn't mean don't be accountable. You can just go about triggering people because, hey, how they respond is their business and not mine. No, that's not it at all. It's about gaining a deeper understanding of your own reactions and feelings, so we can understand other people and human nature's emotional, psychological patterns, and just have the ability to navigate other people's temperaments more effectively without letting them readily get in the way of us being a fulfilled human being. Yeah, they can criticise us and stuff like that, and yeah, we may have weaknesses, but we can always turn any weaknesses into strengths if we're open and prepared to do so. And only because somebody says something doesn't mean it's true, and even if it is true, like the point of the weakness, and you find that the weakness in you is true, again, all weaknesses are strengths. They're like superpowers once we know how to navigate them and the triggers that can trigger them off. On the karmic level, we're going to be maybe having more lessons to deal with sort of like how we need to be an individual and have our own beliefs and value system that we come from researching and learning from our past sort of like mistakes and experiences and relationships, and then changing from those experiences and not repeating them, so we can sort of like heal ourselves. Past lives where we may have struggled with conforming to social, cultural, family expectations and traditions, or where we may have repressed the expression of our true selves to conform, may come to our mind on the conscious or subconscious levels, and how these past lives or past experiences in your current life that are unhealed are still affecting you as a person now, and how if you continue to sort of like not assert your Mars energy positively, or be too detached from your Mars energy, so disrespecting other people's boundaries and stuff like that, and being aggressive, how this can get in the way of you having healthy relationships with yourself and others as well. So ultimately, a lot of these behaviours stem from fear of judgment or rejection, or fear of being hurt, so we can be defensive and put on this aggressive kind of outer shell. And of course we have to protect ourselves and stuff, but Mars in Aquarius wants us to be a bit more detached from our feelings and look at ourselves rationally and logically a bit more, seeing how we can heal our emotional, psychological and spiritual wounds, and learn to manage them, so we can break free from the limitations that our thoughts and our self-destructive behaviours and lifestyles bring into our life as well. So ultimately, struggles and conflicts with authority figures may come to mind. Lifetimes where we abused our power as well may come to mind, how we abused our power in this life as well, as I said. And by recognising the karmic patterns at play, we can strive to rise above destructive sort of behaviours and talk, and work towards a more peaceful life and relationships with others. Ultimately, in the karmic past life levels, because Mars in Aquarius brings a sense of sort of being rebellious, especially against authority, even against our own sort of self-control, it is beneficial and important to navigate these power dynamics with integrity and compassion, especially self-empathy as well, because ultimately when we recognise the karmic patterns at play, we can strive to kind of rise above any destructive patterns and work towards building more healthier patterns into our lives and harmonious close relationships with others. Mars in Aquarius wants us to explore different ways of being, getting outside of our comfort zone, walking new paths, breaking away from structures that hold us back, and embracing innovative ways to problem solving and personal growth. Also, lifetimes where we've been caught up in inflexible belief sort of like systems, or stuck to strictly to social norms, and by doing this we kind of repressed, stifled our creativity and limited our potential, may also come into your awareness as well. So, just try and embrace the unknown. It's a call to trust your instincts and explore alternative viewpoints, even if they seem sort of unconventional or unpopular. By doing so, we can uncover hidden talents, discover new passions, and fulfill karmic lessons that are related to self-expression and embracing our unique gifts. So now I'm just going to talk about how transiting Mars in Aquarius kind of affects relationships on a deeper level. So in terms of our family dynamics, it kind of just brings a sort of vibrant energy. So positively, we can do sort of like work to bring more democracy and equal rights and justice into our family unit, whether it's just be changing the sort of household chores, work rotas, or just having more healthier debates as well. But negatively, because people can want to be more independent at this time, there can just be conflicts in making the time for each other. So we just have to be a bit more open in our communication in order to maintain harmony in our relationships on the family level. In terms of friendship, we may kind of just like explore different ways of being in our friendships as well. It promotes us sharing our experiences and being honest, because we can just be more detached from our emotions. So this can help us repair kind of conflicts in relationships. But because negatively we can become a bit too detached, this can put extra strain on relationships, because people may cancel plans at last minute, or just want more freedom, and this can be one-sided, where one person or just a few people want to do different things and the others don't, and then this can just inflame the conflict sort of thing. So it's just best to just try and be honest at this time, and to balance independence with emotional connection in order to maintain healthy friendships. In terms of co-workers, it again allows us to be more motivated in our work relationships, so we may get closer to our co-workers. We may become negatively more detached from them because of different opinions or a desire for recognition individually. So people may not want to work together, and may kind of tell lies or just do underhanded tactics to get ahead. So just watch out for that, because this can just cause problems, unnecessary problems as well. Try and look at ways to work with each other instead of stealing other people's ideas, for instance, and putting them off as your own, which can cause problems. Why not work with that person and share the recognition? And when Mars is in Aquarius, it's important to be effective in your communication, have more of a willingness to work with others as well, and maintain a positive work environment, as doing so can create less enemies and just make life and things go along a bit more peacefully and stuff like that as well. In committed relationships, it can bring excitement and adventure and a desire for growth within our relationships, which is good. We're a bit open to exploring new experiences together and deepening our connection. But negatively, we can become too focused on individual freedom and independence, and this can just cause problems, because people may cancel date nights. So just be selfish at this time. So again, healthy communication and respecting each other's boundaries become sort of like priority, finding the balance between personal growth and maintaining a strong and open and honest, authentic relationship. In terms of hookups, again, we can be more spontaneous, seeking more adventure and passionate, but because we can be emotionally detached, there can be conflicts because of different expectations. So it's best, once again, to get consent first of all to any activities, have clear communication, have mutual respect for each other's boundaries, and just to double check as time goes on, just to make sure consent is still given. In terms of career, again, it allows us to take more calculated risks, be more independent, and actually showcase our unique talent. So it can be a good time to show your boss or your co-worker skills that they may not even know that you had, and this can just lead to a promotion or just recognition. In terms of spiritual development, it wants us to challenge traditional religions and spiritual practices, bring in more spiritual awareness to your life, and just questioning what your personal philosophy and belief system is. Does it need upgrading? It's a great energy to use for researching the meaning of life, and just doing things that just help you grow. So yeah, in terms of personal development, we can just have that strong desire to express our individuality. So it's just good for building that self-esteem, that self-love, encourages us to grow personally through embracing ourselves and pushing the boundaries of what is considered normal, even normal for our own personal behaviour as well. It gives us the sort of like vibration to go against conformity and to, confidently go after our passions and interests, even if it goes against what people think we should do. As I said, so this is just a great energy to get us out of our personal rut. The spring equinox is coming up, so we can plant the seeds over the next 3 months of March, April, May, so we can start getting the harvest in, June, sort of like the summer solstice, and then as we go into the autumn equinox, just keep on reaping our harvest as well. So you may think it's too late. A lot of us get like, oh, I'm too old, all this has happened, but I believe in you, and I believe that anything we're prepared to work for, we can get there. Educationally, Mars in Aquarius can make us more curiosity and have a thirst for knowledge. So, it's great for alternative methods of learning. Some of us are more visual learners, some of us learn more in our sleep, so maybe falling asleep to motivational content that you want to learn or revise for your studies as well. It can make us more independent in our thinking, so it's great to sort of like take a course or commit to self-learning of things that really align with your unique interests and things that really make you feel alive. So it's just great to share and exchange ideas and just expand yourself in all the ways that you can commit to at the moment. Okay, so I'm just going to finish up by talking about ultimately the best things for creatives, professionals, entrepreneurs and alternative healers to do when Mars is transiting in Aquarius. So creatively, it's a great time to experiment with new creative expression and artistic styles and work with different people or mediums and techniques and projects. This energy can help us because we can become detached, edit projects or revisit works that we've already done and continue them because we can be a lot less involved with them now as well. It's a time to embrace your eccentricity, your individuality, and let yourself flow freely with life. Professionally, it's great for networking with others and group efforts. Even though you may want to work alone, it is a good energy to work with others because we can get to our goals quicker. But if you do work alone, this energy can just help you stay focused. It's a great kind of energy to work on because Uranus energy, which rules Aquarius, is all about future technology and stuff. So it's a good energy to update our online presence, start a podcast, content creating and stuff like that as well, and reaching out with other professionals in content creation. Entrepreneurs can use this energy to be more kind of unconventional in their strategies, take risks and think outside of the norm, explore new markets, experiment with unique business models or technologies, and just be open to creating new partnerships maybe with others that can kind of push your ventures forward, and just being futuristic in your thinking. Alternative healers can use this energy to sort of like be more holistic, research new cutting edge technologies that they can use in their healing practices as well, and just experiment with different methods of energy healing and psychic healing and other therapies as well, embracing your uniqueness and offering your clients a more innovative sort of holistic approach to their psychological, spiritual, physical and emotional wellness as well. Lovers can use this to bring more adventure and excitement into their relationships. It embraces us to respect the individual in our relationships and connect with each other more intellectually and emotionally as well, exploring new ways to do that, exploring new ways to be as a couple, maybe rearranging what intimacy and the rules of your relationship as well. You can use this energy to engage in deep conversations about your sex drives, about your shared goals, individual goals, and see how you can incorporate the relationship you each are having with yourselves and the relationship you're creating together. Maybe, trying out unique date ideas, doing things that, stimulates you more on the intellectual and even sexual levels as well, and just embracing the unconventional side of your relationship and letting your love kind of grow in the realm of imagination and intellectual deeper compatibility. So yeah, that's the end of this special on transiting Mars in Aquarius. Take care and see you next time.